Dear colleagues, this is phacoemulsification of an intumescent cataract. The main incision is being placed at around 10:30 o'clock. We can see the radial water clips. An air bubble has been injected into the antechamber. Now this is trypan blue dye being sprayed over the anterior capsule underneath this air bubble. The dye is sprayed uniformly over the anterior capsule, and now the dye is washed out. We should always wash out the dye because there are some impurities, some particles sometimes in the dye which can get lost underneath the iris, and it can give rise to some form of TAS, toxic anterior segment syndrome, milder forms of TASS. Viscoelastic substance HPMC has been injected. Yes, it is hydroxypropyl methyl cellulose. Now two side ports are made, one on the right side, another one on the left side. Now capsular hexis is to be done. What I do is I incise the capsule and make a curved flap, a C flap. I hold this flap and make a small hexis and see what happens. Here it tends to go to periphery, but since it is a small hexis, there is enough margin of safety to bring it back. So if we try to do a small hexis, we can bring it back. There is enough margin of safety. Now some cortical matter is removed to decrease the intralenticular pressure. Yes, if we remove some cortical matter, the intralenticular pressure decreases drastically, and this cataract is no longer an intumescent cataract. The shrew is tamed, and we can easily enlarge these hexis to an optimum sized one. See how it is done. Viscoelastic substance is injected, again hydroxypropyl methyl cellulose and nothing else. Now I take a Vanna scissor, make a small cut. In this case it is at around 7:30 o'clock or 8 o'clock. Now I take Utrata forceps and enlarge this hexis to an optimum sized hexis like this. This time I try to remain at equal distance all around from the margin of the dilated pupil, and thus I achieve a round optimum sized hexis, and this is comparable to femtorhexis or zeptorhexis. Though it is not exactly a circle, this is fairly good. And now I'm going to do direct chop. What I do is this I call submarine chop. I bury the tip into the substance of the nucleus, travel through the substance of the nucleus towards the opposite equator, and now I chop it and divide it into two halves. It has not divided yet, so what I turn it 180 degree, hold one half and separate the other half from the half which is held with the phaco tip. Now each heminucleus is divided into some more fragments. Each fragment is emulsified and removed. This is very much necessary. Now what I'm planning is I'm lifting the inner edge of one heminucleus and emulsifying it from center to periphery. Here, this is the other heminucleus. I divide it into two halves. Now I hold this half at the apex. This is a triangular fragment. I hold it at the apex and emulsify it and conquer it. And this is the last nuclear fragment. And this is easily emulsified. I remove the chopper. When I see that I need a more stable anterior chamber, I remove the chopper and emulsify the nucleus single-handedly without the help of the chopper. Viscoelastic substance is now injected again, and now is the time to remove whatever cortical matter is there. In this case, I am using a Simcoe cannula, 23 gauge Simcoe cannula, to remove the cortical matter. Going through this side port. These side ports are little larger, about 1.4 millimeter, and a 23 gauge or 24 gauge Simcoe cannula can go easily through this side port. And now this is little bit of polishing of the posterior capsule. Now what I do is implant an intraocular lens under irrigating fluid. I mean, the antechamber is kept formed by irrigation and the lens is implanted in the capsular bag. See, both the leading haptic and the trailing haptic has gone into the capsular bag. Just by a simple nudge of the left hand instrument, that is the irrigating probe, the trailing haptic goes into the capsular bag. This is little bit of moxifloxacin, and this is hydration of the side ports. At this time, lot of minute air bubbles entered into the anterior chamber. And now this is the hydration of the side port. After hydration, a final lavage of the anterior chamber is performed with BASS. Here it is. Balanced salt solution is used to do this final lavage of the capsular bag and anterior chamber. And now the anterior chamber is formed and the case is concluded. Hope this video will help you in your practice. Thank you very much for your attention.